You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Sit back and enjoy the show. What is up, everyone? Paul Apostolakis. You have entered another episode of Inside Real Estate. We've got my co-host, Mr. Tom Lauer, here with me. And today we've got Miss Katherine Grant. How are you, ma'am?
I am doing great.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome to the show. For those of you finding us before, welcome back. If you do, please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you are reminded of all future episodes. You can go to irepodcast.com to find us there. You can see us live on Facebook /IRE podcast or anywhere that you so wish to consume your podcasting day. That's all I got.
Nice.
Yeah. So today I wanted to start off by saying, obviously our hearts go out to another shooting that happened. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's super, super sad. So I wanted to say my own condolences to the families. I can't imagine what those people are going through.
No.
Just really shitty on a side note on real estate. But today we'll talk about applications volume, just where that is as far as refinances and purchase volume that we're seeing on the mortgage side. We're going to talk to Katherine about what she's seeing on the sales side of the transaction, and going forward, what she thinks is going to happen with the market, and we'll kind of go into that. But first and foremost, I want to get into Katherine Grant's past.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
well, not that. We're not going to go that deep in the past. But how did you start in real estate? Last year, you had a really good year. You did 10 million, which is awesome.
Yes.
Which is what it was your first year, second year?
It was my first.
Your first year out of the gates, you did $10 million. That's pretty wild.
I mean, who does that?
Not too many people, man.
It's got to be less than 1%.
Not too many people get
10 million in your first year?
No. So that's why I wanted to bring you in and talk to you a little bit about, how you got started and what kind of got you over that hump to do 10 million in 1 year.
Well, my journey is
Speak into the mic. Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
There you
My
go.
journey over my life has been many, many different things. In fact, I don't know how long the show is, but it would take me hours to explain all the different things
we don't
I've
have that much
dabbled
time.
in. But my daughter, Ashley, got started in real estate about 4 years ago. And I watched her success and thought it was very exciting, how she was helping people. And so I decided to take the jump and give it a try. And, initially I started because I needed to make money.
Right.
But
Which is a good driving force.
it is, but
Yeah.
it turned into so much more. So I have done many different things in my life. I think I'm very easily distracted by shiny things, and I have never really found my true passion. And being able to help so many families over the last, really, I've been on board for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 years has changed really my drive. I mean, I started off, as I said, to make money, but now it's all about helping people. And I enjoy doing that every single day. That's what keeps me going.
That's what keeps you. What were you doing before you did real estate?
Well, let's see. I owned a modeling agency for about 20 years.
Oh, wow.
That was amazing. And then
How do I get involved in that?
you're talking to the right person. We'll talk later.
We'll talk later.
But I owned a modeling agency. I raised my children doing so. That was very, very fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Exciting. And then, when the economy hit, things changed and I had to make some different choices. So I did everything from running a water park up north to selling barbecue sauce, all sorts of things. But
Wow.
Barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce.
What kind
I
of barbecue
did.
sauce did you sell?
It was good. It was
That's
called
exciting.
Easy Peasy. It's no longer in business, but
No.
I really enjoyed everything I do. I give 100% to.
Right.
So I think this is something that I will stay with. I love the company I'm working with, Real Team Real Estate, and the people that I'm involved with. And it's just every day is a blessing.
That's awesome. So how did you start? You know what I mean? Like, where did you start? when you started?
It's funny because I remember my first day going, I don't even know what to do. And, that's the great thing about Real Team is they showed us the steps. They showed us the system on, how to talk to people.
Yeah.
We did a lot of role playing, which I hated, but obviously it was something that was needed.
Right.
We did a lot of cold calling, again, something that I don't love, but there's proven results with that.
Yeah.
I would say I started with my spirit of influence, and with the age that I'm at, I had great success because I have a lot of people at 55 and 60 years old downsizing.
Right.
So had some wins there, but also a lot of first-time home buyers that I was connected with, and that's very rewarding, helping people get into their first home.
There's something to be said about getting a first-time home buyer into a house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is always very special. I always enjoy that, Tom. I mean, that's one of the favorite things that I like to do.
It is.
It's getting harder and harder to get a first-time home buyer into a house.
Well, as long as they're willing to lower their expectations, we can still do it. But yeah, payments going up 40% doesn't help.
No, it doesn't help at all. So you started off, you got a lot of support from Real Team, it sounds like.
I did,
which is awesome.
Yes.
But 10 million is still a big gaudy number. Did you do mostly listings? Was it on the buy side?
Well, it's funny because when you start as an agent, you're usually a buyer's agent.
Correct.
And so I did that for 6 months, and I remember coming into the office one day, and the owners are like, do you have any listings? And I think I had one listing in the first 6 months.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not a listing agent. And Danny said to me, you need to change that word. You are a listing agent.
Right.
And I started saying that to myself. I believe in this big time. I started putting it out there. I wrote it. I said it. And last year, I think I had about 15 listings.
Wow. That's in the first year having 15 listings.
Yeah.
That's super wild. What challenges did you see in the market last year that you're not seeing this year?
I think this year is different. Last year, I have to admit, was maybe a little easier for me.
Right.
I think more people were willing to list their homes, and there was options. This year, I find that people are a little bit more reluctant to list their home because they don't know where to go.
They don't know where to go.
That's the biggest objection, right?
Right.
Because,
Yes.
wow, look at all the equity in your home, and you can really cash out here. But then the next question is, where do I go? And do I have to pay more for a house? And do I have to pay more for my mortgage? And that's the struggle to overcome that objection of where do I go?
So how do you overcome that objection? Where do people go?
Well, I always say, especially at a listing appointment, you're in the driver's seat. You are the seller. You are in the driver's seat. You take control of what's happening. So, I mean, we can find you a rental home if you're downsizing. If you're moving out of state, that's a win. People have in their mind that they're going to sell high, buy high.
Right.
So you just, you create that proper expectations right from the beginning, and you just let them know we can build in occupancy. There's many things because you as the seller are in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they are in the driver's seat a little bit. The seller is totally in the driver's seat in today's market. What do you do for buyers in this market?
Oh, I've got lots of tricks.
Yeah. All right.
My biggest thing is my communication. I am huge on communication with the buyer as well as the listing agent. So right even before I go to, a showing, I will reach out for the listing agent, create that relationship right off the get-go, find out what's important to the seller, because those are key things you have to know before you even go in.
Yeah.
So you're not wasting anybody's time.
Right.
So I'll find that out, and then I'll go back and discuss that with my buyer. If it's a go, we move forward. And then, yes, we're still doing appraisal guarantees. We're creating free occupancy for the sellers.
Yeah.
A bigger EMD.
Mm-hmm.
There's many things, but I think communication, and for some reason I'm noticing in this industry that that's not prevalent in some cases. So I kind of have a step up because I am a great communicator.
Yeah. No, that's really good. Being a good communicator is really important, especially in our industry.
So, Katherine, you've made the jump now to you are a listing agent.
Yes,
right? You are a listing agent. There
Yes.
you go.
And what is your area of operation? If you were to get a listing, what's your ideal neighborhood or place to have a listing?
Well, I grew up in Rochester.
Yeah.
I'm 55. I've been there most of my life. And so I have a lot of connection to the community.
Went to Rochester Adams, I believe, right?
I sure did.
She's a Highlander.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
1984. baby.
Rochester's
All
a little bit of a bubble. People out there don't
Yes.
understand. If you're from Rochester, you kind of stay in Rochester, and everybody kind of knows each other in Rochester.
You do.
Right.
But I think in this industry, you also have to realize that you got to go everywhere because, you'll meet people. I'm always out, at different events and talking to people, and you have to be willing to do your research in other communities because you want to be a listing agent everywhere.
Right. No, for sure. So you don't want to limit yourself whatsoever.
What do you
Yeah.
think is more important when you are a listing agent, you're listing focused? How does that differ from being a buyer's agent? What different skill set do you have to, jump onto that is different from just being a buyer's agent, do you think?
A listing agent, I feel like you need to mirror match your seller, especially if they're analytical, really what's most important to them. A buyer's agent, your goal is to get that home for them.
Right.
We're out looking at a bunch of houses, but your buyer is looking for their home. It's
Right.
not, houses is just a big term. Home is the one you fall in love with. So I think the difference really is, just being a good negotiating specialist on both ends. But as a buyer's agent, you are a little bit different because you have different details that you have to work through.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. So in today's market right now, we're seeing, challenges from interest rates. We're seeing challenges from every, it seems like from a buyer standpoint, there's challenges everywhere. What do you tell your buyers right now so that they don't get super fatigued or kind of give up on the situation? Because I'm probably going to, in my opinion, we're going to see people dropping just from these differences. So with that being said, what are you talking to your buyers about to try to keep their head in the game?
Well, first of all, you don't want to focus on the interest rates. You want to focus on positive things.
Right.
Of course, around us, we've got our economy changing, we've got inflation, we've got gas prices.
Right.
But if you focus on the positive, which that's what I'm about, then, you really are going to lead them. You want to talk about, well, guess what? Interest rates still are good. Back in the day, interest rates were, 14 to 18%.
Right.
We're at 5, you can quote, but, we're still at great interest rates. So if someone goes down that route, I immediately change to what is positive today.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, well, there's, a lot of competition out there.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. But you know what? I will help you find that home. Stay the path. I'm here from A to Z that will help you find that home. And if they're getting tired, maybe we'll take a weekend break and say, let's,
Right.
refresh. Let's get back out there. Let's talk with your lender, make sure we've got our, top dollar out there on your pre-approval. Let's find out, what's going to give us the best, fuel to win that offer.
Right. So what are you doing in 2022 to get 20 million?
Whew, big pressure. I actually did my numbers today on my vision board, and I'm like, ooh, I got to step up my game.
Yeah.
I am actually, what? It is about consistency. It's about doing the small things every single day. Whether you see the results right away, you're not going to, but just doing those activities every single day, the end of 2022 will show your rewards.
That's the hard thing about our business, I think, is that, we do a lot of work and we don't see the immediate payoff for it, right? A lot of it is setting up foundations and setting up meetings and setting up calls, and you might be doing all this stuff, but you might not be seeing immediate results. So how do you keep your head in the game?
Well, if you think about it, we as agents think that we're doing a lot of the action stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go on social media and I'm going to do this, or,
Yeah.
I'm going to go do this. You actually have to focus the beginning of the morning on action stuff.
Right.
So, really time blocking, I've started planning the day ahead, and time blocking is my win. I know exactly what I'm doing every day as far as my blocking. And then, when I do my showings. So it's very, very important to do your action pieces first. Right.
I could see that. Totally. Tom, I mean, from what you're hearing right now on the streets, are you feeling that applications have gone up or down in what you're feeling? Because I'm seeing headlines that applications are starting to fall. due to the interest rates.
Right.
Is that what you're feeling?
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, just, I mean, from the mortgage side, total credit pulls, applications taken, all that stuff seems to be quite a bit lower than it has been. But, I think there's some upside in the amount of listings we're taking, right? We're seeing more pictures being scheduled, which means we're going to see more listings. I think like literally just in the last 10 days, we're seeing a little bit of that inventory starting to come to market now, which is, those are like green shoots in my mind.
Yeah.
Right. Who cares about the rates? The rates are going to do what the rates do. There are still way more buyers right now than there are homes for sale.
Right.
So if we can just get some of that inventory to loosen up a little bit, the amount of transactions going to increase, which we're looking for. And Danny even said it on our leadership call this morning.
Yep.
That's what he's starting to feel. He says on a very micro level, he's feeling, people are starting to list again.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's what you're seeing. Yeah, it's summer.
Yeah.
Kids are almost out of school. Like that's the biggest deal, right?
Yeah.
Weather and
kids.
schedules.
Yeah, schedules.
And we're in that market now.
It'll be interesting to see if they do tick up, or if they really follow what Canada's done with their rates, and they're starting to see big corrections in Canada. I know we talk about Canada a lot, but
right.
I feel like Canada's ahead of us in the whole real estate thing, and they've seen a lot of appreciation, and now they're seeing a massive correction, sometimes 20% in some areas of correction, and is that what we're going to see and feel here?
Well, we've been talking about, you and I have been talking about that online and offline a lot.
Yeah.
How similar it feels like Vancouver, Toronto is to kind of like, the US market somewhat.
Yeah.
And if it's a bad idea to look at national statistics and draw any conclusions, right? That's just never a good idea. But if we were to say, okay, what does Toronto look like? And what does Detroit look like? I think you can draw some parallels there. And if you were to draw those parallels, I think that you would see we're several months behind Toronto. When you look at the kind of appreciation that they've had when they had their rate change, and you can see if they're a leading indicator, then yeah, you're gonna see us follow what they're doing, which is, those super aggressive high prices are coming down now.
Right.
But it's interesting. There's been in Toronto specifically, a flight back into the city.
Yes.
Which is really strange. There's a lot of people, there was a flight out of the city and the suburbs were really popping, and it got kind of like sleepy in the city. But now a lot of those people are coming back to the city, which is, I thought, interesting.
Yeah.
Because when COVID happened and the real estate trends came out, it was like
everybody wants out.
Everybody wanted out, right?
Right.
But now it's like we're seeing that in Toronto specifically, that reversal a little bit.
Well, yeah, they didn't see the drop. They're seeing some double digit drops in their suburbs in values right now, and a lot of that is due to the increased rates. So it's interesting what's happening there. So, Katherine, going back to you and what you're doing to like educate your buyers, right? Are you doing a lot of education right now?
Yeah, I think on both sides. I mean, you do, sit down and you create certain type of, guidelines. Hey, this is what it's going to look like. When you sit down with a buyer consult, you're taking them through a roadmap of what to expect. That way, when we struggle with a few maybe putting offers and not getting accepted, they know. So there's not letdowns.
Right.
Me. So the biggest thing is expectations.
Yeah.
Yes, creating the right expectations.
What are you seeing is a place of like in the business? Do you see a place that needs improvement? You know what I mean? Like in real estate, where do you see the area that needs the most improvement?
Ooh.
Wow, that's a great question.
It is a good question. But with the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I personally, I'm going to take that to the heart with me. I just think every day I grow as a person. So I think as agents, we have to be on our game. We have to pick up our phone. We have to call. We have to be, diligent, just everything.
Yeah.
So I don't really know as far as where else I could see improvement. I think it is a very interesting time in the industry. So
where could you see improvement in yourself? If you could just wave the wand and be better at
Choo-choo.
one or another thing, what would it be in regards to your business?
I would say even more consistent, because consistency is the key to this game.
Yeah.
So do you have a routine?
I do.
What's
I
your
do.
Go through your morning routine for us?
Okay. It's a fun one. No,
Yeah, let's not make it weird.
No. So I usually plan my day ahead. No matter what time it is the night before, I will, plan what I'm going to do. I get
Yeah.
up in the morning, I drink my coffee like most people. I do some praying and focus on really good, positive stuff.
Yeah.
My day starts with walking my crazy dog. I have a Pomeranian. He's a nut job. So that actually brings a lot of humor into my life in the beginning of my day. And then I will have breakfast and start my time blocking. And usually I've learned that I used to think I was so powerful and I could do time blocking where I would call for an hour or two. That's unrealistic. I'm a 20-minute girl. I
Yeah.
have to do 20 minutes and then I have to walk away and just get refreshed, because it just can get mundane. So I just, have to change it up a little bit. So I always get the action plans done in the morning. That's the most important part.
Right.
So,
well, that's really good that you know that about yourself, that you need that step away from the desk. A lot of people feel like they need to do it all at once. You don't necessarily have to do that.
No.
You can take time blocks and take your time and go through it the way that you want to go through it, as long as you get it done. It's really about the consistency of getting it done.
It is. And my energy. I mean, the other person on the other phone, they might hang up on you, but the biggest thing is, I had one gentleman told me, he goes, the only reason I'm listing my house with you is because you have been so persistent and calling me constantly, and I can feel your energy through the phone.
That's awesome.
So you have to have that energy.
Yeah.
You have to have that excitement that you're here to help them achieve their goal.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Tom, some of the headlines that I was reading, one of the main headlines that I read was mortgage rates turn lower. So rates got a little bit better this week, it feels like, but I'm not really seeing too much difference in rates. I think that's just they're always a little behind on that. Applications for refinances, how far down do you think they've gone year over year?
Oh my gosh. So the last number we talked about was, I think, 70%.
Yeah.
Year over year.
Right.
So almost like that industry just went poof.
Yeah, it's 75% lower this week.
75%.
75% lower. And that's a lot of business.
That's a lot of business.
That's gone. And there's a lot of layoffs happening because of that.
So what do you think? So we've talked a lot in the past, and this is kind of a mortgage show too. So broker versus bank. Right.
Yeah,
and then when you get into this, talk about the refis really making a change. Who do you think is benefiting? Who do you think's hurting when it comes to that broker versus bigger bank scenario?
It's all about the relationships, man. It's all about who has the best relationships. And for me, it's like, I think brokers are more in tune with the community. They're out there. They've always been out there. So I personally think the broker is going to fare much better. And they're going to have better rates because they're working off of a different rate sheet, right? Retail has really, really heavy margins. They really do, to be able to sustain leadership, their buildings, all this stuff. Whereas little brokers like us, we don't have that overhead. So our margins are already smaller by design. And so our pricing is better on the broker side. Our process is very good. So I honestly think that the broker side is going to flourish in this time period, as opposed to the retail side of it, where you're going to have more bloated rates. You're not going to have the service. You're going to have slower turn times. And they're not all bad on the retail side. It just that's what I'm seeing in general.
Yeah, one of the recent ones I've read was both, and to represent both sides, wholesale and retail, both Quicken and UWM are really increasing their margins right now.
Yeah.
Right. They're taking a bigger slice of the pie.
They are,
due to what must be the drop in volume, right?
Yep. They have to.
So it's interesting when you see that happen. You would think it would get skinnier to get more volume, but it's the opposite that happens. They're saying, well, the volume we can't control.
Right.
So the only thing we can control is our margin.
I think you're going to see price wars potentially. You know what I mean? I think you're going to see these lenders really fighting it out. I think there's going to be a lot of misinformation out there. I think you're going to get a lot of desperation from guys in the business. And when you get desperation, you can get kind of wonky on the messaging, the origination. So my suggestion is for everybody, just be really careful who you're working with. It's really important, more than ever, in my opinion, to pick or get a referral or an interview 2 or 3 different lenders, 2 or 3 different agents, and find the best one for you. You should always be doing that, in my opinion.
And honestly, when you're buying a house, you're probably with a real estate agent that you trust.
Yeah.
Right? And you're with them for a reason. So you have to, in my opinion, give a lot of credence to who they refer to you when it comes to a mortgage.
Yeah.
Because they've done so many transactions. They've seen different lenders, good ones, bad ones. And if they're recommending someone to you, it's a good idea to take their advice, to at least quote that one. Right? Like
at least
you
take
can
a look
shop
at
it.
Yeah. At least take a look at it.
But they're the quarterback of your transaction, that real estate agent. So if they're recommending a lender, chances are they're going to be the one you're going to find most happiness with.
Yeah, I agree. I think referrals are always the way to go. And I think, just so people understand out there, your agent wants to get paid. They want the deal closed. They want to deal with someone that they know is going to take the deal to the finish line. Am I wrong, Katherine?
No, you're completely on. I was going to mention that to Tom too, is actually our buyers now, they are shopping lenders more than ever.
Yeah.
It used to be where, you go with one and they stay with one, but now it's like they're talking to 3, 4, 5. And a lot of
because
people,
they're desperate.
Absolutely.
They're trying to scrap and claw for every inch too.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them are cutting, these lenders are, cutting corners to make things happen. And that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to get that buyer to the closing table.
Correct.
So I agree. It's really important to have that relationship, or a referral that that the bottom line is, our goal is to get that person to the closing table.
Correct.
For everybody involved, not just us or the lender, for that buyer.
Yeah. And a lot of times, if it's someone that you've worked with in the past, communication is going to be better. The process is going to be better. You're going to know what to expect. You'll be able to explain the process to your people a lot better, as opposed to going with like a Chase Bank where like you're being kind of shuffled through 10 different people and you don't really know who you're working with.
And the nice thing about, being involved with Range too, is that, there's things that they do, that are special for that buyer.
Right.
That really don't necessarily get done otherwise.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in it. Listen, we have a very complicated business. We have a lot of moving parts in what we're doing. And buying a house is no different. Well, it is very different actually than a lot of different things. It's not like buying a car. You've got so many different people involved: title work, appraisals, inspections.
Yes.
You got so many different people that you're coordinating, photos,
emotions,
right? Like there's so much. And if you don't have a proper team working on it, you could be really screwed in our business.
Yeah. Think about this. This is the largest decisions that these people make. So you don't want to screw this up.
No,
it's really important.
Yeah, it's very important not to screw it up. So, but yeah, 75% lower year over year. Now, purchase volume, how far down do you think that is year over year for applications?
Year over year? I mean, I know exactly where we're at, which we're down maybe 5%.
Okay.
So that's the only, I don't know the national
16%.
16%
is the national average.
Wow.
So it's,
we're down 16% nationally on just total purchase applications.
Purchase applications and 75% on refinance.
I wonder how much of that is cash gobbling up some of that market share, because don't you feel like there's been a lot more cash transactions than mortgage transactions?
I can't figure out where this money comes
from. Well, where is the money coming from?
I'm sorry to say that, but it's like, what? So yes, there are. Last year, I thought there was quite a few cash transactions, but this year, even more so.
Even more so on the cash side, which is definitely gobbling up some of the application on the mortgage side.
Mm-hmm.
But like, in today's world, these people are coming up with lots of cash. Parents are helping out a lot in today's world. Parents are like helping out their kids left and right. I feel like, just to cover appraisal guarantees, whatever it may be. Tom, does that pose an issue when we're talking about loans, having parents help them out?
It depends on the type of loan, right? But I'm pretty sure with both conventional and FHA, if a parent wants to make a gift,
right,
it can be a gift. You can't get a loan to get a loan, so you can't owe mom and dad that money back. They're gonna have to sign a letter Mom and dad are going to have their bank statements looked at, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they're going to see where the funds come from. But very common situation to get a gift from a parent.
Mhm.
But you ask where all the cash comes from. Look at where all the cash came from over the last 2 years.
I know,
I mean,
it's
our
being
government
sarcastic.
has pumped so much cash into the system. You're going to end up seeing it places. And now this is one of the places we're going to see it,
Absolutely.
is in real estate.
It's a lot of that money that got pumped into their economy is going right into real estate because it's a
Absolutely.
safe place to put money, right?
Right.
So it's hard to say what's going to change, but I don't know, man. Are we in stagflation?
Ooh.
Are we reaching stagflation status, bro?
Well,
Do we know?
Katherine, are you familiar with that term?
Actually, I know I've never heard of it.
Okay. So in the 70s, it happened, and it's a scary situation. And this is the one that economists are really the most scared of, is when you have a higher interest rate environment and recession, right? So no jobs and rates are getting pushed higher. In the 70s and 80s, it happened, and it was pretty powerfully negative for the economy. Because, usually you can use rates to influence the economy. But in stagflation, it gets to that point where, you keep pushing rates, and yet the economy doesn't respond. And, we're in a recession and rates are high. It's scary, I think. And are we going that way? I mean, I don't know. What do the job numbers look like? I feel like when I look at job numbers, those are coming back.
I mean, that's the weird thing is the job market's pretty healthy. I mean, we saw some
Unemployment's low because a lot of people left the market and don't want to come back to it.
Unemployment is very low. Yeah,
right.
So I don't know where, with employment's really the X factor, in my opinion.
Correct.
Which we can't really account for right now because we've had such a weird labor force and what's been going on. But if we start seeing unemployment tick up, then we're definitely headed towards a stagflation type situation, which is
right.
anomalous. It happened in the 70s and we don't really understand.
It was bad.
It was bad. It was not good.
Yeah, and it lasted a while. Some of the problem, though, is a lot of the people that left the market during the pandemic, like, would you want to come back to work now with gas prices at $5 a gallon?
Dude.
And, hey, no, you can't work from home. We want you to come into the office.
Right.
Like, if you left the job market, like, do you really want to come back to it right now? And so, yeah, maybe unemployment numbers are low, but that's because no one wants to go back to work yet.
Right.
But then I scratched my head. I'm like, well, what are these people doing for money?
I have no idea.
What are they doing for money?
I don't know. Yeah. A lot of gig stuff going on, I guess. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where rates go. And pretty much the Fed's in the mindset that they're just going to continue to raise and continue to raise. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, rates, you think inflation is going to cause rates to keep going higher and higher?
I mean, I do. You're still seeing supply chain issues. China's still having its issues with COVID. Where do all the products come from that we buy, right?
Yeah.
So there's still that supply chain constraint that drives prices up.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that we've got the naturally occurring inflation.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think everybody's saying we're at peak inflation, but I don't know. We gotta see.
I don't know if we're in peak inflation. What about housing? Is the inflation in the housing market, Katherine? You think that's going away, or you think that's going to stick around for a little bit?
I think it's going to stick around for a while.
Yeah,
I really do. I think we're just getting into the summer months. I've got a handful of listings coming in June, so people are definitely still actively thinking about selling or putting their homes on the market. So I think our summer is going to be great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I would agree. Especially if some of those people actually do end up listing, because the buyers are still there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Buyers are still there.
That's
they really are. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of them. They're just waiting.
Buyers are still there. We've got a lot of pre-approvals sitting around.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, buyers are ready.
We've got a huge pipeline of pre-approvals just sitting there that aren't popping.
Right.
So our volume, it sucks. It's low, but you got a massive amount of just people in the pipeline.
Just in line, waiting.
Just waiting for the right house.
But that's our job as a good agent, is just to, let that buyer know that, yes, you're going to be beat out sometimes on offers, but stay the path. we will win. We will win.
Stay the path.
Yep. Stay the path.
Stay the path.
Can I ask Katherine a question?
Yeah.
So we're very happy to have her at Real Team. And she's been amazing. Probably one of our fastest rising stars, right?
Love
10
it.
million in the first year. You must just get calls all the time to go somewhere else. Don't you?
You should ask.
Are you being actively recruited, Katherine, by other people?
I am.
Yet you choose to stay for some reason. There must be something that you feel with where you're at that keeps you around, because I mean, you're the prize girl at the dance. You really are.
Aw,
Well, there it is.
Tom.
There it is, Tom.
But yet you stay. So
There's not one thing. There's so many things. And, the first year you see what your value is. And, that's when things start to come, people start reaching out. And, I've created a family within this organization, and there's so much that they do besides just the support. They're always there for us, but there's so much more. I mean,
Yeah.
the owners, what they do, they give
Yeah.
the coaching, the training, the kick in the butt when you need it. We all
Right.
need a nice kick in the butt every once in a while.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I hit 10 million. You become part of the Key Club. They take us on a all expense paid trip.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And it goes on and on. But the other thing that really, I think, sets them aside is we all work as a team.
Right.
And we come into an office where everyone's making those calls
Yeah.
and doing that thing. But guess who else is doing it? All our leadership.
Everybody. Yeah.
And you don't usually have that. Like, they're leading the way.
Right.
So
You can't lead from behind, right?
No.
And so there's a lot of leadership happening from the front.
there's lots of cheering. There's a lot of accountability. But there's a lot of, fun things behind. We go to Tigers games.
Yeah.
We do a lot of stuff as a team. And there's so many rewards that it's a great place to work.
That's awesome. That's
Yes.
awesome. I think having the proper
you
support.
feel part of something.
Yeah. And isn't that what really our purpose in life is that you want to be part of something?
Yeah. What's the point of doing something if you're just all on an island and nobody really
No.
sees it?
I mean, the island might be nice, but I mean, we
Right.
crave for attention. We crave
Sure.
for, just a pat on the back every once in a while. And
Sure.
a lot of organizations don't do that. We have that here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So okay, we're running out of time. But I do want to
Mm-hmm.
get into 3 questions. We asked 3 random questions that don't have anything to do with anything. And then we'll get you on your way, and then we'll let the audience know how they can find you. But first question I have is, if you had to eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Oh my. I would say probably cheese fondue.
Ooh,
Cheese fondue. That
good
is a
one.
first for the show. We've never had anybody say cheese fondue.
Both my parents, we traveled all over the world, and that was one of my favorite dishes as a child. So every time I had a birthday, my mom and dad would make that. And
Really?
they're no longer here with me, but every time I can celebrate having cheese fondue, it's just a wonderful day.
It
All right.
really is.
All right. Do you have a question, Tom?
I do.
All right.
And you can go either or. I either want to know about your first car or the first concert you went to.
Oh, I love this. Well, my first car was a gold Mercedes.
Whoa.
Your first car was a gold Mercedes.
But listen, it's not what you think. Okay, it really wasn't my car. I was able to drive it to school.
Okay.
But my parents had taken that car one day, and so I was given a big Bronco to drive to
Give me
high
the
school.
Bronco.
I love that.
But in the back of the Bronco, my father had a buffalo head. Okay. So it got around the school.
What do you mean he had a buffalo head?
There
Hold
was
on.
a buffalo.
A mounted one.
Yeah, he was going to mount it. Okay.
Oh,
But
it
it
wasn't.
was-
mounted
it wasn't-
yet.
it wasn't-
still straight cut off.
It wasn't mounted in the back seat.
No,
It was just
no.
in the back seat.
But it was in the back of the Bronco. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, it got around, the school. And then before I knew it, everyone was like, yeah, Grant's driving a Bronco today with a buffalo. Have you checked it out? So when I went to leave that day, everyone was standing around the car. So that is probably the biggest memory of my early days of driving.
I don't know that there's ever been another buffalo head in a Bronco at Adams High School.
Yeah, no, it was
a
funny.
buffalo head.
Yes.
Wow. Did he hunt the buffalo?
My grandfather did. He
Wow.
shot it by mistake.
He shot it by
and
mistake.
got fined.
Really?
Oh, yes. It's a long story. We don't have enough time.
But he's still mounting the fucker.
Oh, yes, he
Yeah, for sure. You paid a fine. Yeah,
He paid the fine.
Yeah, he's getting mounted regardless.
that's awesome.
If you could go back to one era of time, what would it be and why?
Well, I have to say, I'm very grateful for being adopted as a child.
Okay.
And since both my parents are gone, I reflect a lot on my life when they were here.
Oh, that's good.
So that is
Yeah,
a very, very happy time in my life.
I got it.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes.
That's awesome. How old were you when you were adopted? Baby?
6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
I was a little baby.
Got it.
That's awesome.
Yes. But my
Never knew
dad
that about
said
you.
he picked out the best one and, had to make sure it was perfect. So, I had to really,
Well, you
there
turned
was some
out great.
big pants I had to wear to make
Yeah.
it
Well, you
fit.
turned out great, Katherine. You
Thank
really
You did.
Well-
You have a great family. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. And your family's beautiful. You've got so many gorgeous grandkids, and
I know. It's
you guys
amazing.
are tight too. You vacation together. Like you do everything together. Her extended families, they're just always together. It's
That's
very
awesome.
cool.
That's
Well,
really awesome.
My dad taught me that at a very young age is that, you can always count on your family and to make sure you take care of them. So we travel together. We spend a lot of time together and create those memories.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Tell the audience how they can get a hold of you, Katherine.
So should I give my phone number?
Yeah.
Okay.
However
Give it
they
all.
Yeah.
Give it all.
Yeah, give it
Okay.
all.
So you can follow me on Instagram, Close with Katherine. And also I'm on Facebook, Katherine Grant or Close with Katherine. And my phone number is 586-206-8548. And my email is Katherine, KATHERINE @mirealteam.com.
Wow, you got
Good
a great radio
enunciation.
voice.
Good enunciation.
Thank you very much.
Very good enunciation. So that's a wrap, you guys. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for making it to another episode. If you'd like to see us live again, go to Facebook.com/IRE podcast. You can see us on YouTube. You can see us on any of your podcast apps. If you want to listen to us, obviously we're there. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell and give us a review. It really does help us out. Thank you. And we will talk to you next week. Goodbye. Peace.
Bye.
Great job.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate, the nation's top real estate podcast. Don't forget to follow us at irepodcast.com and everywhere where podcasts are available.